everybody. How are you all doing? Please let me know in the comments where you are tuning in from, where you're watching from, where you're based, what county, what galaxy, so I can shout you guys out. I see we've already got some people saying hello from Scotland. We've got someone else from Canada and Brazil, and I expect the chat to explode at any second now, as there's a small transmission delay, of course. I mean, I'm not going to say anything. I'll wait till I start, because I want to say a lot about this episode. We have people tuning in from Austin, Texas, from the UK, from New Jersey, from Ecuador. Well, we're going to talk about Ecuador, aren't we? What do you think, by the way? It's gone up already, but whoever's tuning in from Ecuador, what are your thoughts on the raid? We've got people tuning in from Canada, from Manchester, from Vietnam, South Africa, Liverpool, Algeria, Nicaragua, California, the Bronx. We've got Texas. We've got the whole planet. That's why I keep a globe. That's why I keep a globe nearby, right? No, but seriously, this is outrageous stuff. Let's jump right in, because I want to begin. I said it would be a rule to do this now. Before I actually begin, two things I always going to tell you. Make sure you're subscribed on Rumble, so we have a backup, okay? Rumble is another website like YouTube, and I have a channel there. It's rumble.com/Richard Medhurst. I'm live streaming right now on Rumble, as a matter of fact. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. It's just good to do that, okay? Please do that. Number two, YouTube punished me because I tell the truth about Israel. I tell the truth about Western foreign policy. So if you're able to make a donation, please do, because they've taken away the monetization, basically how I make a living as a journalist. And I need people to donate on PayPal or Patreon. However large or however little they are able to donate, anything is appreciated. Thank you. So let's begin. Mexico's embassy in Ecuador was raided by the Ecuadorian police. I mean, when I saw this, I couldn't believe my eyes. Really, this is so scandalous. It is beyond words. Beyond words. Let me go through this step by step, and I'm going to tackle this from multiple angles, because for me, this is a very hot issue. Let's look at the footage, first of all, okay? Can you see the footage? Here they are amassing around the embassy, the Ecuadorian forces. You can see them bringing in all their thugs, all of the police, the special police, and then here they are again. This is that's the gate of the embassy right there where my mouse is. Here they are getting ready to go in, and then you can see them already climbing over the shield that says the Mexican embassy, and these images should shock you. They must shock you without question. This is an unequivocal, indisputable, crystal clear violation of international law. There's no discussion. There is no discussion. Look at this. I mean, the consul, who is part of a diplomat who's in charge of consular affairs in the embassy, was chasing the police after they broke in and kidnapped Jorge Glas. Now, this man used to be the vice president of Ecuador, and he was convicted in court in Ecuador of corruption, and he says that it's a political persecution, that it's not true, and he ran to the Mexican embassy. He applied for asylum, which is a human right, and he was granted asylum, and he's been in the Mexican embassy since December, so about 4 or 5 months. Ecuador have no right, none whatsoever, to enter that embassy, even if Adolf Hitler himself is in the embassy. This is Mexican soil. An embassy is inviolable sovereign soil. An American embassy is American soil, or US soil, right? A French embassy is French soil. You do not have the right to go in under any circumstances unless you are given express permission by the ambassador. So once again, this is the equivalent of attacking Mexico or invading Mexico. There is no difference whatsoever. You have to understand this. This is not a new idea. This has been enshrined in international law since 1961, since the Vienna Convention. It's every country on earth agrees to this. Every country on earth has signed and ratified this convention, and they all agree with it. So they have violated two things by executing this raid. The Ecuadorians have violated the sovereignty of the embassy. Actually, three things. Mexico's sovereignty comes first, then the Vienna Convention, and then Jorge Glas's right to asylum, his human right to asylum, also enshrined in international law. Three insane violations. Insane. Absolutely unacceptable behavior. I really can't believe my eyes. Look at this footage. That's him in the blue top. Right there. So they also injured and attacked multiple diplomats, Mexican diplomats, and embassy staff. This video is just one of those incidents. I mean, to grab a person, to snatch and kidnap someone from an embassy, this is outrageous. Even the Americans did not do this. They thought about doing it. They certainly planned and contemplated. But even the Americans didn't do this to Julian Assange in Ecuador. They achieved it a different way, but even they didn't dare barge into the embassy through the front gate. So can you imagine how outrageous this is? And again, I'll get into more of my analysis in a second. I suppose I'll just continue with going through the footage and statements. Here's the same diplomat, Roberto Cancesco. I don't know if I'm saying his name correctly. Forgive me, I don't speak Spanish as a fifth language, but do watch the footage.
Contra el suelo y físicamente traté de impedir que entraran. Como delincuentes allanaron la embajada de México en Ecuador. Esto no es posible. No puede ser. Es una locura.
¿Se lo llevaron al señor Glas?
Entiendo que sí. Estoy muy preocupado porque pueden matarlo. No hay ningún fundamento para hacer esto. No. Esto es totalmente fuera de toda norma. Y lo están haciendo porque es una persona perseguida, como lo podemos constatar el día de hoy.
¿Han dado aviso ya a las autoridades en México?
No, no me han dejado hacer nada. Estoy totalmente indefenso frente a este grupo. No puede ser, no puede ser. Esto no ha sucedido en los peores casos.
¿Cómo pasaron estos minutos? ¿Cómo vivió usted el ingreso?
This man speaks for me. This man speaks for me.
¿Cómo fue todo esto? Si nos puede un poquito relatar.
No supimos qué estaba pasando. Estábamos por salir. Y de repente nos encontramos con policías, con ladrones que entraron en la noche en la embajada.
¿Qué pasará en adelante? ¿Qué acciones emprenderá México?
No lo sé, pero esto es algo totalmente inaceptable. Físicamente, a riesgo de mi vida, defendí el honor y la soberanía de mi país. Esto no puede ser. Es increíble que haya sucedido algo así.
El señor Glas se resistió.
Tengo que reportarme.
El señor Glas se resistió. Roberto
It's beyond scandalous, and I want to show you some of these statements by Latin American countries who have rallied around Mexico and put out these statements. This is from Miguel Diaz from Cuba. He says, all of our solidarity with Mexico in the face of this unacceptable violation of the embassy in Quito, the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, which is an essential component of international law, must be respected by all. This is from Nicolás Maduro, Venezuela's president. He said, it is an act of barbarism, something never seen in Latin America. The right wing pro-Yankee government of Ecuador brutally violated international law, assaulting the Mexican embassy in Ecuador and kidnapping a political asylum seeker, thus recognized by the Mexican government. Venezuela raises its voice forcefully to reject this fascist act against international law and expresses its full and absolute solidarity with the president, López Obrador, and the people of Mexico. Then we have another one here from Gustavo Petro, who says, the Vienna Convention, this is from Colombia, he says, the Vienna Convention and Mexico's sovereignty in Ecuador have been broken. I insist once again that Latin America and the Caribbean, whatever the social and political constructions in each country, must keep alive the precepts of international law in the midst of the barbarism that is advancing in the world and the democratic pact within the continent. Colombia respects the universal right to political asylum. All my solidarity to the diplomatic staff of Mexico in Quito. Mexico have cut ties with Ecuador. Nicaragua have also cut ties with Ecuador in protest. This is, I have some more statements from other countries to show you. I'll save them for afterwards. I'm in shock. I'm truly in shock. This is, I mean, in the span of a week, we've had the Iranian embassy in Damascus being bombed. An outrage within an outrage of a calamity of an atrocity. And now, a second attack on an embassy by a state actor. Again, whether Israel is really a state is up to debate, but you understand the point here. A brutal, callous, brazen, flagrant attack on an embassy. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. In some ways, this is actually worse than the Israeli bombing of the Iranian embassy. Yes. Do you know why? Why do I say this? I say this, and I'm the first one to protest about the Iranian embassy being bombed. I say this because the Iranian embassy was bombed from the sky. A person in the sky pressed a button. You know, it's like a video game for these people. This was in person, in the flesh, literally in the flesh, barging through the front gate. It's unbelievable. This has never happened in history. Embassies have been attacked for a state, the host state, the host, to go and attack an embassy. Like, I mean, I can't believe this. Unbelievable, unforgivable, unconscionable. Look at that. Do I have to bring out the Vienna Convention? Do I have to whip it out? It's like with the Israelis. Do I have to whip out the Geneva Convention and read it to you? Let's read it together, shall we? Article 22 of the Vienna Convention, extremely crystal clear, says the premises of the mission shall be inviolable. Inviolable. The agents of the receiving state may not enter them, except with the consent of the head of the mission, meaning the ambassador. The ambassador certainly, under no circumstances, gave their permission. This is an attack without question. To debate this is ridiculous, but here we are. Not only that, but the receiving state, meaning the host country, Ecuador, is obligated, is under a special duty to take all the appropriate steps to protect the premises of the mission against any intrusion or damage and to prevent any disturbance of the peace of the mission or impairment of its The premises of the mission and their furnishings and other property thereon and the means of transport of the mission shall be immune from search, requisition, attachment, or execution. You do not touch the embassy. You do not touch even a fly in the embassy. You don't touch a duster in the embassy, a phone, a cardboard box. You don't even have the right to look through a cardboard box. None of your business. You don't touch anything or anyone in this premises. This is, forget the Vienna Convention. Even thousands of years ago, it was understood you don't shoot the messenger. You don't attack an emissary. I cannot believe this. This is so egregious. It's so bad. This is the breakdown of international law, a covenant of international law, a cornerstone of international law being turned to rubble before our eyes. Yes, of course, lives in Palestine are worth more than this. We're past that stage already. We passed that a long time ago. But an additional cornerstone, this is an additional cornerstone being destroyed. You don't understand how serious this is. I knew this would come. I told you this would come. When you have a madman on the loose, when you allow the Israelis to behave like this, to bomb an embassy and get away with that, you open the door for this to happen, for Ecuador to attack the Mexican embassy. This is Israel's fault. This is America's fault. Do you understand that? This is the world's fault for doing nothing, for allowing Israelis and Zionists to bomb an Iranian consulate in Damascus in broad daylight and just doing nothing. If you allow that to happen, well, then anyone can, what can anyone say when Ecuador attacks a Mexican embassy? When they're just kidnapping someone as opposed to bombing it from the sky, right? Who could complain? If they said nothing about a bombing, well, they won't complain about this, will they? And I mean, only God knows what genocides will also happen in the future, because no one stopped the Israelis. So, well, I can do it too. This is so bad. This is so bad. Mexico have not only cut ties, they have also lodged a complaint and filed, they are opening a case against Ecuador at the International Court of Justice. I cannot believe that this is even being brought to the ICJ. Not because Mexico shouldn't take it, but because every country on earth understands you cannot bomb or attack an embassy. You don't do that. The ICJ rules on matters of international law and disputes between states. No one has ever done something like this. So the ICJ never had to rule on it because everyone understands you don't attack an embassy. But no, apparently Israel, apparently Ecuador don't understand this. So now the ICJ has to rule on it. I mean, I can't believe this. It's so bad. And I want to tell you, this is personally egregious for me, because watching Palestinians and Arabs being killed in Palestine, and then watching the embassy of Iran being bombed in Damascus, where I was born, this upsets me. And then also the fact that I've reported on Julian Assange's case. I know his case backwards, and that it was Ecuador who handed him over to the London police, to my country's police. This also is related to this, and it upsets me. And then on top of that, my parents, their work in the UN, you know, being in the diplomatic community. I've gone to hundreds of embassies and functions and all these things, and it is an honor, it is a privilege to be received in an embassy. You don't barge through the gate and start attacking people and kidnapping them. This is lunacy. The same thing in the UN. Hundreds of times. It's madness. Everyone understands you behave like a civilized human being when you're in an embassy or a consulate or in the United Nations. You don't start attacking and kidnapping and bombing people. And then later, my work as a journalist by myself, going to embassies and doing interviews. Again, yeah, I mean, this is unconscionable. It is beyond the pale that this is allowed by a state actor. The official police. You're supposed to protect the embassy, not barge through the gate. How dare you? Some embassies, they even send the army to protect them in civilized countries that respect international law. I'm sorry, I don't think Ecuador is an uncivilized country, because Ecuador has lovely people. It is the government that is uncivilized. I mean the government in this case. You know, a civilized government sends the police, the army, sometimes even special units to protect an embassy, not to attack it. Unbelievable. And about Assange, you know, the thing is that in that case, there was a right-wing government elected with Moreno in Ecuador, and they are so corrupt. They violated Julian Assange's right to asylum, his human right to political asylum. Every human being on earth has that right, obviously. And they manhandled him, gave him to the British police. And in that case, of course, yes, legally speaking, yes, they gave the British police, the London Metropolitan Police, the right to enter the premises. We're not disputing that. But they violated his human rights by doing that, because what they did is they handed him to the United States. I know this, you know this, I've done, hundreds of hours of coverage on this. We know this. So the fact that it's Ecuador, again, that violates someone else's right to asylum is beyond the pale. This is a country, this is a government, and it's successive governments now that do not respect basic covenants of international law, cornerstones of international law. This is beyond the pale. This is unacceptable. Ecuador now belongs in the group of countries like Israel. Obviously, right? Who could dispute this? I must be losing my mind. 2 embassies in 1 week. This is unheard of in history, even in the Cold War. Actually, the Vienna Convention is because of the Cold War in a way. But even in the Cold War, no one behaved like this. Even with Julian Assange, the Americans, obviously they violated the embassy by spying on it and infiltrating it. But even they, and by the way, the British government, this vile minister, I forget his name now, but he said that they were thinking of storming the embassy. To this day, I'm shocked by this statement. The words alone shock me. Never mind something like this transpiring, happening, manifesting itself in reality. I'm still shocked just by that statement, that the British government would even dare utter those words of storming an embassy. Who the hell are you to storm any embassy? This is very bad. We are headed in a very bad direction, and obviously this began with the taking of lives in Gaza and the entire occupation. But the fact that it's so automated and industrialized in Gaza, and that no one does anything, well, no wonder. Who is going to commit genocide next because they think they can get away with it? Why are we asking these questions? We shouldn't be contemplating these things. We should be advancing it, becoming more civilized. No, we have to head in the other direction because the Americans and Israelis don't care much for civilization. And then this now, we have a new norm, a new low that we've reached now, that you can just attack embassies as a state actor. Just like that. Barge through the front gate, drop a bomb from the sky, do whatever you want. Go ahead, just do what you want. What's next? Are you going to just roll up and start shooting diplomats in the head? What's next? What's next? They dragged this man, and let's be very clear. I do not care what they claim Mr. Glas has done. I don't care about his case. I don't have to care about his case because this guy has political asylum. You cannot touch him. Period. You can't touch him. You can't violate his right to asylum. This is, I don't know why I have to come here and repeat these things. It's astonishing. It's astonishing to me. What a new low. So as I said, Nicaragua have cut ties with Ecuador in protest. I suspect some more countries will follow. But this image you will see printed in history books. That I can guarantee you. Without question. Without question. You will see this image printed in history books and projected in university lectures on the wall and talked about for decades to come because of how outrageous it is. Next to the plaque, right next to the plaque, the symbolism of this is so vile. It's so bad. Let me read to you some more statements from Latin American countries. This is from the Chilean government. Okay, I want to read this to you. Give me a second. It's over here. So the Chilean government expressed its strongest condemnation and deep concern about the violation of the right to asylum. The Chilean Ministry of Foreign Affairs conveyed its solidarity to all the diplomatic staff of the Embassy of Mexico and Ecuador and asked that this incident between sister nations with which Chile maintains close relations and a historical friendship is soon overcome. Well, what you should be doing is cutting ties, but okay, it's still a condemnation. We have from Bolivia, the president saying that these actions are unacceptable. He said that Bolivia is respectful of the rules governing diplomatic relations and strongly condemns the intrusion of the Ecuadorian police. It is an unprecedented event in the history of international law. Absolutely. We have from the Honduran president, Castro. He described the police intrusion into the embassy as intolerable, and he indicated that the aggression constitutes an intolerable act for the international community since it ignores the historic and fundamental right to asylum. We have from the Brazilian government condemnation in the strongest terms, the reputable police intrusion in these diplomatic headquarters of Mexico. The measure of the Ecuadorian government constitutes a serious precedent a serious precedent which must be strongly repudiated, whatever the justification for its implementation. I suspect someone will be taking the government to court in Ecuador at one point, inside Ecuador, and they will find that the government acted in contempt of international law and violated it clearly, without question, because every country has signed the Vienna Convention, both 61 and 69, and they have ratified them decades ago. So, you know, it's integrated inside the laws of every nation as a result. Very, very awful stuff. I mean, like I said, it's almost worse than the bombing of the Iranian embassy because it was in person. In person. Of course, it's difficult to compare because that one had a loss of life. We had, I think, 7 Iranians and 8 Syrians who were killed by the Israelis, and of course, it's a bombing, which is more serious. Obviously, in that regard, it's way worse. But the symbolic, value, or shall we say, devaluation of attacking like this through the front door, climbing over the gate, barging in with the vehicle. I mean, it's unseen in history. Truly, never ever seen before. You have, for example, events where the SAS in London, they stormed the Iranian embassy, but that's completely different. The Iranian government asked them to do that because there was a hostage situation. So again, this is with the permission of the guest country, asking the receiving state to intervene. It's a completely different situation. We are seeing international law blown to smithereens by the Americans and the Israelis. They have lowered the whole planet. They have taken us to a low standard, an uncivilized standard in every regard. Human life, inviolability of diplomatic premises, you name it. Blocking humanitarian aid, whatever you want. Killing UN workers, killing journalists. They have lowered the bar for civilization. They have taken us backwards. I don't know how many decades or hundreds of years, but they have taken us backwards. Make no mistake. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. And Ecuador have contributed to this disgusting trend. Shame on them. Shame on the Ecuadorian government. How dare they? How dare they do this? Shame on them. Thank you. Sorry, I'm trying to read it. Speak it. Thank you, YoGZ3X, who said the voice for the voiceless. Habibi Richie, much love. Stick it to them, brother. Oh, Gucci, right? I guess I'll just say Gucci from now on. I'll remember it. Thank you very much for the generous donation. It's just I'm pissed off because this is a very, very sensitive topic because, the opening of embassies and diplomatic missions is what makes the whole planet, it makes the whole planet, obviously it doesn't work 100%, but it makes the whole planet prefer and it facilitates diplomacy for all countries. It opens dialogue between countries in the hopes that we don't have war. Obviously, we have lots of war on Earth and lots of loss of life and violence. It's egregious. It hasn't stopped. But the idea behind it, why do you bother opening an embassy? Why do you bother receiving the credentials of a diplomat? Is because you want to have dialogue with that country. But now, when you are attacking it, now it's like you've burnt a bridge. You've severed that tie. Now, if there are any future relations between Ecuador and Mexico, they have to go through a mediator, you know, if it makes everything messy, or it could even be war. Who knows? I mean, in some cases, how do you know Mexico would cut ties? You don't. Maybe they declare war. Maybe there's a bloody war because of this act. And you couldn't blame them, really. I mean, not for the bloody war part, but for responding with a declaration of war, because the attack itself is a declaration of war. It's like as if the Ecuadorian police attacked the border. You know, pick a Mexican border. It's far up now, but it's like as if they had run over a guard post or a checkpoint at the border and just started, you know, snatching people. It's like an invasion. It's no different. It's exactly the same. We've gone backwards. We've gone backwards. Very, very, very upsetting. And again, thank you to all of you for your support. We have some donations here. I'd like to read to you. This one was on PayPal from Linda. Thank you very much, Linda. We have another one from Michael, and we have another one here from Ilham. Thank you. We have an additional donation from Irene, who just said donation. Thank you, Irene. You're very kind. And I'll put all the links below. I'm not done. I'm still gonna continue. But Paul is asking in the comments, anything from the US yet? No, they haven't said anything. I mean, I doubt they will. They didn't bother commenting on the Israeli strike. So why would they on this? They didn't bother. Nest says, seems like this is becoming the new imperial norm. Which embassy will the US target? Well, all of them, actually. Obviously, the US tries to target all embassies by infiltrating them and using spy equipment. But yeah, as I said before, even the Ecuadorian embassy in London, they didn't dare to storm through the front door. They certainly thought about it. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't dare do that. Fingerman says it is invasion, not like invasion. Absolutely, without question. I agree with you 100%. Again, I will post the links for donation in the chat, but I want to continue and talk about other developing news and stories. This is quite remarkable, actually, from a strategic point of view. Just give me a second to pull this up. Oh, bollocks. Forgive my French. I seem to have lost it. Hold on. I have to pull these up all over again now. Oh, no. All right, give me... Oh, no, I have it. It's fine. I have it. I didn't lose anything. I sound like an old professor who's looking through his notes. Like 70 years old. No one understands what he's mumbling about. No, but let's talk about this, because we have very big news coming out of the Middle East, okay? So I want to talk to you about the latest exploits of the resistance in the Gaza war. The first is from the Iraqi resistance. They have carried out two rather remarkable feats. The first, a few hours ago, they struck an oil refinery in Haifa. So this is, again, in occupied Palestine. Haifa is all the way over here, as you can see on the map. And I don't know where exactly they struck it from. Usually you'll find the Iraqi resistance about here, but they move between the borders, obviously, and strike all the American bases. So in any case, it's hundreds of kilometers. So very, very significant precision payloads. And we also have, so this is one of the three things they've done. They also struck the Golan Heights. The Golan Heights are over here in Syria. Okay, so you see these dotted lines over here. This is in Syria, and it's illegally occupied by the Israelis since 1967. So the Iraqis struck, again, from here to there. I'm just going to put a ruler to give you an estimate of the distance. So that's about 300 kilometers. That's if they're operating from Iraq. But remember, the Iraqi resistance have permission to go inside Syria from the government. So they might as well be operating from right here. Okay, I'm just giving you the estimates. So the Golan Heights, usually you won't find the Iraqi resistance there, but we are just measuring hypotheticals here. Usually we're talking about hundreds of kilometers away, not right at the doorstep of the Golan Heights, obviously. It's actually the Israelis who use the Golan Heights, which they occupy, as a staging ground for bombing Damascus whenever they like. So we have two major events, the oil refinery in Haifa being bombed, then the Golan Heights, and then the third major event from the Iraqis. This is from just 2 hours ago, breaking news. They've hit Eilat. Again, this is al-Rashrash originally. There are many places in Palestine that you'll hear. For example, Erez, the border crossing, is actually Beit Hanun. So the Israelis have changed the names because they're colonizers. So this is the same thing. Eilat is actually al-Rashrash. And again, this is one of the major ports. It used to be a major port. Now it's blockaded, not doing much porting. So this is down here in the Red Sea. There it is, right? So again, I'm going to clear these. We can, again, just do a measurement, a random one, and you'll see it's hundreds of kilometers firing from Iraq into Eilat, 500 kilometers. Why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because I want you to understand how significant it is with a map in front of your eyes. And also, I love maps. But it also gives you a mental and visual representation of how significant it is that the Israelis and Americans are being hit not just by Hamas, but by all of these resistance groups. Objectively speaking, okay, from a purely unbiased, neutral point of view, this is significant because 10, 20 years ago, this was unheard of. It was unheard of that, the resistance in Iraq could fire precision, with ultimate precision, at an Israeli port in the Red Sea. This is, maybe in the off chance, but now it's almost a daily occurrence. And then to have not just that, but also the Yemenis doing the same thing, unheard of 10, 20 years ago. Now this is a daily occurrence. It shows you how bogged down they are. When we talk about the real battlefield, they're actually losing. The Americans and Israelis are getting spanked, and they don't even talk about it because of how embarrassing it is. So that's, again, three things: Golan Heights, Eilat, and Haifa. The Iraqi resistance. I'm going to show you on the map with 3 different lines so we can clearly visualize this, okay? We've got one from here to Haifa, all right? And then we've got another one to the Golan Heights, and then another one to Eilat. Ultimate precision, the ultimate accomplishment. And Hezbollah at the same time have been giving the Israelis a very, very hard time. They've downed an Israeli drone just a few hours ago. Let me read this to you. This is the Hermes 900, which is a model of unmanned aerial vehicles that the Israelis employ. Take a look at the video. They've taken the time to actually film it for us. I've just muted it for the copyright, okay? It's just music, don't worry. Yeah, so now you can see the drone going down. Suqut is the fall. You can see it's clearly on fire. Smoke plumes bellowing out of it. And there it is. Game over. Did you hear about this by chance in the Western media? Have you ever heard about any of these events? Forget the one from today. Have you ever heard of Hezbollah downing an Israeli drone on the BBC? Just once. Have you heard of the Iraqi resistance striking? Again, I gave you the ones yesterday, but the ones from today, I mean, this is in the same day. The Golan Heights, Haifa oil refinery, and Eilat. So you got Eilat being struck, by the way, figuratively, by the Yemeni resistance who've instituted a blockade, right? So it's being struck economically and physically by the Iraqis and the Lebanese. One day it's the Iraqis, tomorrow it's the Lebanese, right? It's just crazy. It's really crazy to see this because strategically speaking, objectively speaking, militarily speaking, this is unheard of. And again, this is not new today. This has been going on for months. But I'm just bringing the events of today by themselves, putting them before you, and by themselves they are remarkable. Never mind the fact that they've been going on for months. On the battlefield, again, I always tell you there are two battlefields in the Gaza war. One of the battlefields is the Israeli slaughter of civilians. Unimpeded, with no surface-to-air missiles, no defense, no ACAC, no flak, no nothing. The other battlefield, where it's between men, they get spanked. The Israelis get spanked in every regard. They don't have what it takes. They simply don't have what it takes to contend with the resistance. All the resistance factions, whether they are in Iraq, whether they are in Syria, whether they are in Lebanon or Palestine or Yemen, they don't have what it takes. And that's why they don't talk about it, because it's embarrassing. It's pathetic, an abysmal performance. Same thing with the Americans. The Americans are powerless. They can't do anything. The Yemeni blockade is there. It's there. The Americans, they put on a show with fireworks and drop bombs, but they can't do anything. They have failed to achieve a single objective. The Israelis, the same thing. They have failed to achieve an objective. Military success is measured by whether you can achieve objectives, results. Nothing else counts. Propaganda doesn't count. Propaganda doesn't count. Having CIA operatives or military generals go on television and talk about how amazing America is not military victory. That's rubbish. That's garbage. That's talk. You measure success by results. Is the Eilat port down? Is it functioning? Has it been stopped from functioning? The answer is yes. It's down and it's been stopped. It's been impeded. It has been completely neutralized. It does not receive traffic or cargo at all. It cannot. Are the Israelis losing goods, losing money? The answer is yes. A lot of it. Are the Iraqis firing at Eilat unimpeded? Yes, and they're striking it. These things are not being shot down. If they were shot down, they tell you about it. Are the Lebanese hitting the Israeli military outposts, their electronic surveillance, radar, dishes, cameras, all of this clutter that they've lined the occupied border with? Yes, the answer is yes. The Israelis are, figuratively speaking, blind and deaf in the north. They are powerless against Hezbollah. Is the Iraqi resistance? Are the Iraqi resistance hitting the oil refinery, hitting the airport, hitting the port? So they've hit not just Haifa, but Ben Gurion, which is the main airport in quote-unquote Israel. The answer is yes. These are successes. It's not whether it has nothing to do whether you or I actually support these actions or not. It doesn't matter. We're speaking purely objectively out of neutrality. These are successes. They count as successes. They count equally as failures by the Israelis and the Americans. And that is why they have to be underscored, because the mainstream media talk to you like your children. They treat you with disdain, and they harbor nothing but contempt towards you. They treat you like children. They talk to you with propaganda, with buzzwords, with garbage, with nice, glossy graphics and lower thirds. I don't care about that. I'll stream from a potato. I'm just going to tell you the raw truth. I'm going to show you evidence of it too. I'm going to back it up with documents, with maps, with videos. That's how you do it. This is the front that no one talks about. The multiple fronts, the multifaceted war. Gaza is not in Gaza. The Gaza war is in Iraq. It's in Yemen. It's in Syria. It's in Iran. It's in Lebanon. That's what they don't tell you. They want to look tough bombing civilians. They're not tough. They're scared. You have no idea, man. Even in 2006, they were scared out of their minds of these ghosts, the Hezbollah ghosts. They're going to pop out of the ground when they're sleeping. What Hamas is doing exceeds that, multiplies that tenfold. Leagues, light years ahead. I mean, if we look at the bottom line, obviously Hezbollah are stronger just because they are not under siege. They've been able to train and equip themselves better because they're not under siege. That's not to take away anything. Again, speaking purely objectively, with complete neutrality. It's nothing to do with whether Hamas are tougher or less tough than Hezbollah. I'm talking about the bottom line, what they can take on, what they can complete. There's an invasion in Gaza that is not comparable to Lebanon at this point in time. Remember, Lebanon used to be occupied by the Israelis. It still is, as a matter of fact, but to a lesser extent. These are the things they're not going to tell you about. This is a great time to plug the show. That's why you should donate. I'm kidding. But seriously, these are the things you never hear about. You never hear about. By the way, the shooting down of this drone was the 11th operation for the day. For this day, the 11th operation. These guys are busy. These guys are busy. They're not playing around. I swear to you, they're not playing around. No wonder the Israelis have evacuated. What's the number now? I don't know. They say officially it's about 80,000. I think it's double. Easily. Israeli media and US media are not known for their honesty, are they? They're not particularly valued for their integrity. So I think it's fair to assume the number is double. As a matter of fact, they tried to play the same game with the number of Israelis who fled. They act as if it's it's just 50,000. It's actually 300. Those who have left. I'm not even talking about internally displaced. The point is that Hezbollah have scared the Israelis so much they've set up a buffer. This whole zone right here. When you look at, again, I'm going to clear the measurement. Ignore the measurement. Right here, when we talk about the border, this entire zone has been cleared. There's a giant buffer zone. No one on the Israeli side lives there anymore. They're not allowed to. The army have pulled them out, put them in buses, and taken them down in southern, quote-unquote, Israel to hotels, which costs a lot of money and manpower, by the way. Another loss incurred. It adds up. In war, everything adds up. Every cent. Every calorie. This is a war of attrition. And the resistance are in a position of power right now. They are, the Israelis and Americans will crumble if things continue this way on the battlefield. Remember, I'm talking about the second battlefield, not the one where the civilians are. I'm talking about a real battlefield between men, not people in jets picking on civilians and dropping bombs on their heads. One other thing I would add is that the technology they're using, I'm inclined to say that it's Iran who's given it to Hezbollah, and they have, very well equipped results, shall we say. But I will add this: the Russians and Iranians have partnered up with drone production. Remember, it could very well be. Who knows? I don't have evidence of this, but I'm just speculating now. It could very well be that the Russians, their technology has reached Hezbollah. Yes, this is possible. They could have given it to the Iranians, and then the Iranians passed it on. Nothing wrong with that. We're all friends. But why do I say this? I don't say this because, oh, it's the first time Hezbollah have taken down a drone. Not at all. They've been doing this for a long time. This goes back years. This is nothing new. But the frequency of it is new. I'm just speculating because the Russians, the way they set up their electronic warfare, radar and surveillance systems in Ukraine, they crushed all of the drones that the Ukrainians lobbed at them. That doesn't mean nothing got through. It got through when it came to the Kremlin and the oil refineries that were bombed recently. Those were successes attributable to Ukraine and NATO. Yeah, it goes to that question. Again, we're speaking neutrally here. But the Russians have superior electronic surveillance, electronic warfare, surveillance, and radar systems. No one can dispute this. This is a fact. Just out of virtue that the Russians have been in an arms race with the Americans, obviously means they will be stronger than the Ukrainians, even though the Ukrainians have been equipped by the Americans. And the exchange of technology between the Iranians and Russians is a very possible result that could have been yielded through their contacts, given that the Iranians passed on a lot of their drones and gave them the plans and how to build them, and then the Russians tweaked them a little bit, etc. So they're very open with each other. There's no secrets again. So it's entirely possible that some of that technology has reached the resistance. I have no doubt, and I don't know to what extent. That's all. I just don't know to what extent. Jefferson says, learn how it's done, amateur Israel. Well, again, you can make up your own minds. I gave you and I showed you what is happening on the front, and you make up your own minds. And I think you'll agree with me. So we have another donation. This is from Abdi. Thank you very much. And we have an additional donation made here by Thomas. Thank you very much. There's a note from, give me a second, I saw it somewhere now, just one moment. From Jerry. Jerry says, keep up the great work. Wish I had more to send. Well, everything and anything is appreciated, so cheers to you, Jerry. Thank you. And Michael, we have another Michael who sent in a donation. You're most kind. And I think we have one on Rumble as well, so I'll check back. Excuse me, on Rockfin. We have one here from Stargazer. Thank you, Stargazer. I also saw your donations yesterday. I said so in the chat after the stream. I hope you saw the message. But in any case, I'm grateful to all of you for your help. I will repeat this once again because I have to repeat it. The Israelis are punishing me. The Zionists are mad because I tell the truth about Israel. I'm giving you the facts about Western imperialism, and they demonetized the channel and took away my means of making a living on YouTube, which is my primary source of income. So I have to make up for it somehow. If you guys are able to donate, please do. Anything is appreciated. It could be anything from $1, €1 to as much as you like. So you can do this monthly on Patreon, or just a one-time thing with a comment or a question on PayPal, and I'd be much obliged and most appreciative of that. So I'll put the links in the chat and the description. And if you can't donate, that's okay. Just share the videos or comment or like, and all these usual YouTube cliches that they lob at you. So yeah, thank you very much. I think we shall leave it at that, and I shall return in due course when we have additional topics to discuss among us. So thank you again to all of you for tuning in, and I highly implore you, I really urge you to go and subscribe on Rumble if you're watching on YouTube. Why do I say this? Because we need to have a backup. So it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. I know it's annoying to sign up on websites, but it doesn't matter. It's rumble.com/Richard Medhurst. Very simple. It's just like the YouTube address, but I will type it out for you in the chat. And again, at your own pace and in your own time, please do subscribe over there. And remember to like the video. I see we've got 1,200 people watching, but only 600 likes. Half of you naughty people have forgotten to hit the like button. I'm very cross with you, so make sure you've hit the like button, or I'm coming to spank. Thank you to Aussie Truth for your comments. Thank you to Lazu Wayne, who says, I'm already there. Thank you. That's what I want to see. I want to see that kind of motivation and attitude. All of you are slacking and need to keep up with Lazu Wayne. We have Matt, who says, search your name. Yes, obviously you can search my name on Rumble and you'll also find me that way. That's true. Rabia, who says, already liked. Thank you very much. And Rada says, press like. Better listen to Rada. I didn't say anything. Rabia also says, and subscribe to on Rumble. See? That's what I want to see. Daniel says, no crab dance, no like. Well, hey, I said every 100 subscribers on Rumble, I will play a crab dance. So if you go subscribe, you will get a crab dance. Don't start putting conditions on me. This is not a negotiation. Actually, you can say thanks to Rando, who just subscribed on Patreon, which also elicits a crab dance in kind from me. So let me go ahead and play that for you. Everybody say thank you to Rando.
Clap for that, you stupid bastard.
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Listen, fuckhead, you have fucking crossed the line, claiming I'm the enemy. You got that, you goddamn son of a bitch?
I don't give a fuck what you think, bitch.
Good morning. Sunday morning.
Cut that bitch off.
Thank you for Iron Dome.
Thank you.
والله في كلاب بصراحة يعني ماشي نشتغل عادي.
We lied, we cheated, we stole.
China.
And you ain't black.
There's always the macro.
And then there's the micro.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large.
we got him.
Because I have to do it myself. I know it's not.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Disgusting!
She was 12, I was 30, but anyway.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Why you text Sanders? Why? You're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay. Okay.
Suck my dick and choke on it. I yield my time. Fuck you.
I'm laughing because of the crab dance, but also because of the comments you guys left in the chat. Hold on. One of you said, Miss Anonymous says Richard doesn't negotiate with terrorists. I love that one. Who came up with that phrase again originally? Was it Blair or Bush? I don't know. It's probably before that, but you know, probably some Reaganite shit. Sorry, it's the first curse word, I swear. One of you was saying, I love your channel, but don't use the F word. I haven't used it once during the stream, okay? Because I love you. We have Violin, who says, some people like the spankings, though. No, you stop with that immediately. I thought it said some people deserve spankings. I was going to say yes, particularly the Ecuadorian government. We have, thank you, Hina or Henna. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly because we have so many people from around the globe. I'm trying to, always when I'm reading names, I'm trying to figure out where it could be from so I say it right. Thank you for your nice comment. And we have another one here from, one of you said that I made up, where was it again? It was something to do with Rando. Hold on, I'm going to look for it. Give me a second. I don't care. I'm going to read through and look for it. Okay, so Sarah says, did you make up Rando to give us a crab dance? That's a suspicious name. I didn't, but an idea worth contemplating, and I feel bad now for reading it out to Rando. No, Rando is a very nice name. As a matter of fact, it's the name of someone who subscribes and donates on Patreon to independent journalists. It should be celebrated. It's a lovely name, and I love Rando. Thank you. Valentina says, well, thank you, Valentina. I saw your comment. You're very kind. And Blue Anon says, I can watch this every day. Well, yes, you should. You should keep the crab dance on replay. I swear to God, I thought it was Margaret Thatcher. I wanted to say her name. I wanted to say it. K-Max says it was with the IRA when Margaret Thatcher said, I don't negotiate with terrorists. Well, she can go to hell. Chill Out says, visit us in Tunisia, please. We have good food. Habibi. ما لازم تقنعني. بعرف. I know they have good food in Tunisia. I've no doubt, and I will come to Tunisia one day, inshallah. We have Ethel confirming, yes, it was Thatcher. Yeah, indeed it was. Indeed it was. I told you it was some Reaganite nonsense. I told you. My brain was connecting the dots, reminding me it's her. We have a donation on PayPal. This is from Naguib. Thank you very much. And once again on Rumble, we have a donation here from Veronica. Thank you, Veronica. And Makic says, watching with my mom, she says, I don't know what that was. Agree with him? Okay, I think watching with my mom, she says, I agree with him. I told her if something politically hard-hitting would happen in the Balkans today, you would most likely cover it. Yes, without question. And I'm grateful you're watching with your mother, and that makes me very happy. I get messages from people all the time saying they're watching with their family or their friends and in a group, and I think that's really nice and humbling. So thank you very much. And I appreciate the donation. American Spring says, donate or Bernie Sanders will ask for $27 again. Oh my God. It's funny, he didn't even bother running this time. He just sat back and said, I'm with Genocide Joe. Right? He didn't even bother running. I thought we could expect a third strike this time. I don't know, third time does the trick, something like that. Ayanab says, Bernie is such a wolf in wolf's clothing. I never liked the dude. Honestly, he served his purpose quite well, didn't he? He got a lot of people in a net and then dragged them off, over his shoulder and dragged them off to the Democratic conventions, DNC convention. He did his job rather exemplary in his work, and we have to thank him for, I think, opening a lot of people's eyes at the same time. I mean that seriously, because although he tricked a lot of people woke up after that, and ironically, indirectly, he's to thank in a way, right? In a weird way, although he doesn't deserve it. Humbala says, wasn't it Albright with that hostage situation in London? Well, anything involving Albright is bad news, but I'll have to double check. In any case, I found it quite funny to bring that up now, because I said I won't negotiate about the crab dance, and yeah. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I'll just end with one last comment from Ruby Vault, who says, cussing is healthy. Yes, indeed, it is healthy, but I'm trying not to do it on the air anymore as as a matter of habit. So in any case, thank you, Monique, for your nice words. And we have Blue Anon, who says Alabama in the building. Well, as you'll find at the end of the live stream, Alabama is always mentioned. I can't really do the Alabama accent particularly. I can just do a southern one, but then it will jump between. Well, they have their own, differences in the South. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Remember to subscribe on Rumble. One of you said that I got this one from, who was it again? Chambers, who says, I just subscribed on Rumble. So everyone follow Chambers' example. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Ma salame. Bye-bye.
A is for
all men and women created by you know the thing.
B is for
I'm beginning to see why your wife left you.
C is for
Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
D is for
Don't worry, I'm so serious. Children, I love to hear them.
E is for
Excuse to walk by the dealer and say, no, I'm not going to be a mule. I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
F is for
Friend, and she's a friend. She's been my friend in and out of public life.
G is for
Go to Joe 303
3-0.
H is for
Hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
I is for
I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
J is for
Just look at the record.
I have President Biden, Vice President Biden.
Well, I tell you what, if you look at my record and you still doubt about my commitment, then you should vote for somebody else.
K is for
Kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
L is for
The lion, dog, face, pony soldier.
M is for
Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear work.
N is for
NATO.
O is for
The only African-American woman that's ever been elected to the United States Senate.
P is for
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
R is for
Rest her soul, and although your mom's still alive.
S is for
Send a text to the word united.
T is for
Truth over facts.
U is for
Union workers, the UAW took incredible cuts in their future.
V is for
I'll vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much.
W is for
Wait, you're getting nervous, man. Calm down. It's okay.
X is for
Xi Jinping.
Y is for
And you ain't black.
Z is for
She's sleeping?
In our country has been classified as essential. So this is an issue.
By the way, this is my little sister Valerie, and I'm Jill's husband. Oh no, this is you switched on me. This is my wife, this is my sister. They switched on me.